a.m. I'd like to welcome everybody to the work session of the County Commission for November the 6th, 2023. Ellen, do we have any public comment?
Yes. Ken Pack.
If you don't mind, step up here to the microphone, please, sir. You say Pack? Pack. Okay. Oh, man, I got a pen that won't write.
I appreciate y'all listening to our
Yes, sir.
complaints and concerns today, but I've got a few things to say here. It says we've lived in subdivision for 44 years. We moved there in 1979, and there's been no problems until the last 12 months. We've always understood that there was one lot, one residence in the subdivision. And then we found out that Lot 11 at the end of the road had been subdivided into 3 different lots with 3 duplex apartments and 6 residences. And when the subdivision was developed in 1970, in the 70s, they formed 2 different subdivisions. The first one nearest Highway 72 is Blackburn subdivision, and then Morris Williams, and that's the subdivision I live in. And that's where Lot 18 is that we're discussing today. It's it's right straight across from my home. One concern I have is the traffic on that road. That road is not that big, and there's already 6 additional units at the end of the road with the duplexes. And then 2 more on Lot 18 if that's approved. And my understanding is that Lot 10 at the end of the road will have 3 more duplexes if that's approved. That's one lot if that's subdivided into 3 different lots. And that would be a total of 14 additional units on that road just in Morris Williams subdivision. And right now there's 11 units in Morris subdivision. That would be, more than double what's there now. And, the intersection of Blackburn Lane and 72 is a dangerous intersection, and we all know that all the intersections on 72 are dangerous. And and it is a state right-of-way, I understand that, and that's up to the state to do anything about it. And the culvert is not wide enough. And when somebody stops there and somebody's turning in from going west on 72, you about have to back up to let them turn in fast. If not, they'll get rear-ended. There's been one person rear-ended there in the last year, and fortunately, there was no injuries. But that's one concern I have is the traffic. It'll be increased a lot. Another concern I have is the drainage on Lot 18. The ditch will probably have to be rerouted, and it's a low lot. And during the construction, I'm sure there'll be a lot of dirt hauled in, and if we get a lot of rains, it'll probably wash that dirt in the ditch, and it may stop up the culvert. If it does, it'll run the water over the road on my lot. Is that all my time?
Well, finish up where you
Okay, I've got one other concern here. It's the perk test. Now, I understand there's been 1 perk test on Lot 18. If it is subdivided, will there be 2 perk tests on each lot? Thank you for my time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Pack.
Thank you, Mr. Pack.
Steve Romine.
Mr. Romine. How you doing this morning, Mr. Romine?
Hey, Mr.
Yes, sir.
As Kenna said, we appreciate the time you give us and letting us know about this, which last year we sort of got stuff swept in on us that we didn't know about in time to say anything or be aware of it, but we appreciate that. As you ride down Blackburn Lane, anybody can see the nature of our neighborhood, how it's been for we've been there 45 years. Everyone who's come in has built a house on a lot and abided by that. And that's the way it is there now until recently. I'm not talking about that part of it. We know what's happened down there, but this is sort of starting again. And back in the early 90s, there was a court case in the Limestone County Circuit Court, and the judge ruled that a structure that was in one of the subdivisions had to be removed, and not just because of the structure in the subdivision, but because of the fact that there were it comprised two residences on that one lot. And the judge said, you can't do that out there. So the structure had to be removed, and it was. And I don't think anybody looks into that. I don't think anybody is aware of that. Now, what he based his judgment on, I don't know, but that was the ruling. And the other thing I want to say is that if you give permission for this to be divided, I understand the nature of things today, how one house is 5 feet apart from another and that kind of thing. That's not how it is out there. We want to keep it the way it is, but if it is divided, we need some assurance, and we have been given assurance verbally that if it's sold, that whoever buys the lot must build 2 houses on it. Now, we need that kind of assurance as a subdivision before we don't all come up here and oppose it. And we've been told that. Now, I don't know what kind of assurance anybody can give along that line, but that's what we've been told through the owner and through some other people, that that's how it's going to be. But we don't know that for sure. Somebody could buy it and do whatever they want. No, they can't do whatever they want to. I guarantee you that. People think they can, but when they cross a line, we're going to court with them. And we should have done it before, but we didn't, because nobody wants to do that. I don't want to do it. But just keep those facts in your consideration. Appreciate it if you do, but we'll make the best of it. All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr. Roman.
Curtis Turner.
Mr. Turner?
Curtis Turner, 17020 Browns Ferry Road. I see there's a lot of comments this morning about subdivisions, so I'm going to add another one to it. I've just purchased a 6.5 acre tract of land that I need split up for my daughters. And so I need to know who I would have to talk to in order to determine what I need to do in order to facilitate this action. The other thing is the amount of garbage and trash that's being thrown out on Browns Ferry Road. What steps can be taken to address this situation? I know there has to be a littering ordinance around, but I have not seen any signs that say that it's against the law, there's a fine for it or whatever. Therefore, apparently people just feel like it's an open season in order to just throw garbage out. But Browns Ferry Road it's just bad, and this situation needs to be addressed.
Thank you, Mr. Turner.
Okay.
And after the meeting, you can speak with Mark right there. He can answer your question during the middle of. Anybody?
Laquita Smith.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great.
I'm here about a subdivision issue as well. And unlike another gentleman that said he was happy with the notice, I am not happy with the notice I got. The letter was dated the 27th of October, and that was a Friday. It was in my mailbox yesterday. I'm not really sure when it came, but this is when I found out about it yesterday. So I don't really have a lot of information as to what it's all about. I can just say that I know that it probably backs up to our property. It's in front of West Limestone High School, and I'm opposed to it. I'm opposed to a subdivision going in there, This is the county, this is septic tanks, runoff. And I'd really like to know more about exactly where it's going and the plot. I haven't had a chance to look at that yet. I'm not even sure, that these were land deals that were made with a handshake a long time ago. That property has been in our family for over 100 years. And so I don't know the property lines. I need to get a survey to know if I'm okay with this. So I just wanted it to be for the record that I'm opposed to it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Greg Blades.
How you doing, Mr. Blade?
All right, how y'all?
Doing good.
Appreciate y'all's time. I live in Blackburn Lane, just like the other gentlemen do here, and I got the same concerns they got. We also got a concern, and Landon already knows about it, is about the bus turnaround down there. There's nothing. They're either going to back in somebody's driveway or something's going to have to be done. Houses are going to have to be moved on the other side to make room for that. Whoever's building those. But my concern is this lot that they're talking about, which I think is lot 18, it's right next to me. Well, I moved out there. I've been out there about 38 years. I used to be about the last one that built. But here recently, there's been a lot going on. And it really concerns me because the culvert that's on the property is on my property. And that water comes down behind the next house, and it all comes on me and Mr. Pack, and then it's on Mr. Pack's side when it gets there. So, and like Mr. Pack said too, another concern is turning off the highway. Like me, I've got trailers and stuff like that, so when I pull off the highway, I've almost got to stop if somebody doesn't back up. That is a big concern too. But my biggest concern to me is I moved out there for a reason, to be in the country, to be out away from everybody. I mean, used to, we had at least a 3/4 of an acre, so, we're not standing there looking at our neighbors and wondering what our neighbors are doing. But it's come to the point of myself, and I know I've talked to them, and they've been there so long, moving's not an option. Myself, I'm fixing to put my place up for sale because of the reason of 2 houses going up next to me, which in the wintertime, you don't want to walk over there because you're going to sink, and it's water. It's a concern. I mean, it all comes back on me. Even if it rains a lot, I've got about 12 foot of there that I've never cleaned up in this one so-called lake that gives you more in that culvert. And like I said, thank God all the kids are gone and growed up now, because they used to play in the road. That was their thing, so we don't have a lot of new kids, but they're coming. And the traffic's going to be terrible. I mean, I've had to slow some of them down in a way that I didn't want to before, and everything. And it's just a big concern. It used to be a good neighborhood. Now it's turning into, I don't care how if it's $2,000 rent, your riffraff's still going to be there. I mean, you're talking, we ain't got 12 people beyond my house that lives there, and now we're going to have 12 families at the end of the road. So that's my concern. I don't want to move, but the reason I'm putting my place up for sale is because of that. And it's all uncalled for. I mean, I tried to talk to the guy, because at one time years ago, it wouldn't perk. I thought about going down there and putting me a building, because I got a business, but I was going to make it look like a house. But I never could buy it because it wouldn't perk. So, and now they got engineered stuff down there. And another big concern too, which hasn't been brought up, there's our water line down through there. We don't have any fire hydrants. If it was to be a fire, I don't think the line's big enough. I mean, I don't know how big you gotta have, but if I'm not mistaken, it's like a 2-inch line coming from the highway. So what is this gonna do to our water? What is it gonna do to that concerns about fires and all that kind of stuff? So it's a lot of engineering, sounds like to me, that's gonna have to be gone into this subdivision to be the way it really needs to be. So,
Well, thank you, Mr. Blade.
thanks for your time.
Appreciate it.
No further comment.
No further comments? And thank everybody for their comments. And like I said, we've said it, you can always email in a comment. We'll put it in the record or call us one if you have a concern. All right, so moving forward, first thing on the agenda will be the minutes from October 16th of 2023. Anybody got any concern with the minutes?
No, sir.
All right, and claims, we'll have the claims in the amount of $5,321,366.29. Anybody got any issue with any claim paid? All right. Well, conflicts of interest, anybody gonna have any today? Everybody's silent, I'll take it as a no. Public hearings, first on here, we have a public hearing to discuss potential grant opportunity to purchase a tract of property off of Cotton Belt Road that adjoins, Sugar Creek for purpose of constructing access point to the canoes and kayaks of Sugar Creek. Anybody got any discussion with this?
Mr. Chairman, we're having that public hearing, I guess, during the meeting, or what?
It'll run adjacent with the meeting, and it hadn't got a date on here. Do you know what date?
It was supposed to have been today.
It's today.
And it
Okay.
was supposed to have been now.
I guess
No, but I thought I didn't see a date on there, so.
Has anybody got anything?
It was supposed to be in there.
I'll make a comment on
Okay. So the public hearing is right now.
Okay.
Okay.
I think it's a great thing. I mean, Elk River Reservoir up there is some of the best canoeing and tourist sites. I mean, it's one of the best rivers in the state of Alabama as far as canoeing, and I like to see it.
Well, this piece of property here that we're looking at here, which the landowner approached me about it, because a lot of people get out of that creek right there on Cotton Belt, and they have to park on the road.
Yeah.
So we got kids and families trying to get their canoes out of the water. So they approached me about possibly trying to get a grant to purchase this land so that they could have a access point right there. So
I wish we had more access
Yeah.
points.
this is the only one on that stretch there that we really don't have a good point to get off the main highway. So
All right. First of all, is there anybody in the audience that has anything to comment or any discussion with this? Because I know we're supposed to have a sign-up sheet for the public hearing. Does anybody have any comment, or is anybody here in discussion with this piece of property? All right. Anybody else got any comments? All right.
I didn't say
Chairman.
my say.
If I could just pass this sheet around
Okay.
again, and everybody sign in for the public hearing.
All right.
If you've already listed your name, then just pass it on to the next person.
Okay. All right. Well, I know that this has been conversation for a pretty good while about this piece of property and buying this to get off the road there to keep people off of the access, in which with a grant opportunity to purchase it, that's a good idea, so.
Good deal.
Anybody else before we close the public hearing? All right. Moving on, resolutions and orders. We've got 3 resolutions here, and if it's all, first 3, if it's all right with y'all during the commission meeting, we'll just take them all up in one, because they're all 3 the same in just different locations.
Yes, sir.
And I'll go through it here. What they are is, it's adopt a resolution to enter into an agreement with the state of Alabama acted by through ALDOT for maintenance and passive warning devices for the construction of improvements at the railroad crossings on Thatch Road, and I'll just read them all, the Thatch Road, Elkton Road, and Bethel Road. And they're all 100% paid for by ALDOT. And like I said, 1 through 3, they're all the same. It's just 3 different locations. And if nobody has no issue with it, we'll just take them all up in one motion.
Yeah, that's fine. Mark, this don't include the Mooresville crossing, does it?
We done
We
that.
already did an agreement on that one.
I mean, this don't affect it anyway.
No, all of these projects are projects that'll be funded approximately the same timeframe. So they are, no, that other agreement just came earlier, so no, this isn't like in replacement to, this is in addition to that project.
Okay, I know one of them there, the Bethel Road crossing, don't have any lights at all, I don't think.
Correct. And some, I can't, it describes in each one of the agreements what is gonna be done, whether it's lights, whether it's upgrades to the crossing, to have, to kind of level the crossing, put the signage, pavement markings, whether it's to do arms. Each one of them has a different treatment, but all that's described in each agreement.
I know I had Todd to pull me a map the other day. I'm showing 11 railroad crossings just in my district. So hopefully they'll get the other, what, 7?
Yeah. The DOT and FHWA and the railroad have a annual review of of all of the traffic histories associated with railroad crossings in the state. And the last year's review is where these came from. So they try to get as many of them as they can, then they move to the next group on the list. I actually, during this meeting, pointed out 2 or 3 other railroad crossings that we had concerns with, and so they're trying to pull the information on them to evaluate them for this next year's funding.
Good.
So there are, this is something that we've made some good contacts with the DOT and the railroad and FHWA in this process, and so hopefully we can see a few more improvements as we go.
Good deal. I'm glad to see them doing it.
Yes.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, I guess you and Derek's the only two that's got any railroad crossings. District 4 and District 2 doesn't have any crossings in their district. You might have one in the city, but I mean, it would be in the city or on the state highway, but I'm talking about as far as
Danny's probably got a couple down there going
he's
going
south.
east.
No,
These are going north.
Yeah, but his would be in District 3.
Yeah,
Oh, it would?
the east-west.
All
rails
those
in
are?
District
They're all
3.
in District 3.
Okay.
Because everything south of Pete's Corner is in District 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing, and I appreciate
It
it.
is a good thing. All right, any more discussion with any one of those 3 agreements? And if no problem, we'll take them all up in one motion.
Yes, sir.
All right, and the next forward, will be approve a resolution opposing increase in permissible road weights for commercial trucks. I know this has been a subject that's been a legislative conversation. We're just passed a resolution. We're opposed to anything going over, which I know 80,000 is the limit now, but you know, you got a 10% variance on a lot of them, so they most of them run 88 anyway. So, and I know that is that's something that we really need to stay ahead of, because a lot of our bridges would be weight restricted bridges if we get into that situation. So,
Yeah. If this were to pass, it'd put over 100,000 pounds. Well, be 100,000, 110,000, wouldn't it?
There's different, I know that the federal government is reviewing different options. They've passed some kind of experimental kind of rules for some things. So, I know the federal government's been looking at it. The state of Alabama, our state legislature annually has kind of been hit with requests for increasing the weight limits. So, having a resolution stating where Limestone County stands when it comes to this will be helpful moving forward in any legislative issue that may arise.
Well, being allowed that 10% over on county roads, all your commercial freight's gonna take advantage of it. It pays their fuel, you know, so. But it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous bill.
I don't understand why they would even want to consider it for the safety
No.
side of it.
No, sir.
But it is what it is, and like I said, well, I know as far as me, I'm opposed to it, so I'm just go ahead and make it a public statement.
Me too.
But anyways, any more discussion with that? All right, contracts, agreements, and MOUs. We got approve an agreement with the North Central Highway Safety Office for overtime traffic safety enforcement beginning October the 1st of 24 and going through September. I thought that was supposed to be October of 23. I believe that's a typo, and it'd go through 24. But but anyways, we do this every year. That's a contract that we do every year within, you know, it's just one of those things. So anybody got a discussion with that? All right, moving on, so, but that is a note there, that is supposed to be 2023 through 2024, so. All right, approve a refrigerant compliance contract pursuant to EDA regulations at the request of SA Recycling, and this is for maintenance to get rid of old stuff. So anybody got any discussion with that? No. We just need it on file to say that we do have that. All right, number 3 will be to approve EMA to apply for an EMPG performance grant and authorize the chairman to approve and execute all documents pertaining to the same. And we do this every time too. It's just we have to reply every year. So, got discussion with that. All right, budget revisions. We have 4 budget revisions listed below. Anybody have any discussion with any one of the budget revisions? All right, no discussion. We'll move on to emergency purchase. We have none. Board appointments, we have none. Award of bids, we have a few bids listed here below, but a couple of them were rejected. We're not, I suppose, the 2845 on the building, we're gonna not do that too, Mark, right?
The bids came in more than we had allocated to do those improvements. So we're gonna have to kind of back up and reevaluate immediate needs and take care of it kind of piece at a time. So like I said, the bids just came in higher than, so it wasn't anything wrong with the bids. They were just more than what we could afford to do.
Just a metal building.
Yeah, and it was,
It's doing some work on the metal building we have up there to work out of. Things like putting the electrical in it and lighting and things like that. So we're just trying to kind of back up and reevaluate our needs and take care of it on a smaller scale. So.
and I went up and spoke with Angela this morning when and we had talked about some things. You know, one of the things was to have a 2-bathroom system, and you know, we had talked about about getting one of those portable office. I talked with her maybe about getting another portable office building or something, and making the guys a break room kind of, and then making them an office out of, that, because we could do that a whole lot cheaper than we could do this, and this is a temporary thing anyway, so, something that we could move or sell after this was over with, so.
I do appreciate everybody's time that they put into the bid, but it's just even more than what we could.
So that was kind of and me and her had a long conversation about this morning, and she was good with it, so. And so the paper, American Paper and Twine, and the vehicle, we rebid them this morning. We sent those back out. So they're going to be struck off too. So we're only going to have one actual bid on here that will be awarded today.
All right.
So the other 2 was set away. So any discussion with the one bid that we do have? All right, personnel actions, and this is the same way again. We've been doing this. If anybody doesn't have any issue, we can take it all up in one motion. Does anybody have any issue with anyone, or want to take any one of them up separately?
No, that's fine.
Does it? I mean, that's,
Yeah.
okay. All right, well,
Personnel.
personnel action, I know normally we do this, a lot of them, most of them are just, so we'll approve, what we'll do is we'll take all of the transfers in one, then we'll take the hires in 2 separate ones. How's that?
All right.
All right, so we approve to transfer G and Tyler from corporal to corrections officer. This will be effective 10/4. That sounds like police talk here, 10/4. So it'll be effective 10/4 of 2023. And then approve to transfer Michael Bloodworth from sheriff sergeant at patrol to sheriff's lieutenant over patrol, and that'll be effective 11/6. And approve to hire. Well, let's take the 2 transfers up and take all the hires up in one. How's that? All right, then approved to hire Cheyenne Abernathy as a deputy, and this will be 11/6, pending a drug screening. Approved to transfer Josh Hudson from part-time laborer to equipment operator in District 1. This is 11/6. And approved to hire Sonia Brissett as a part-time van driver at council agent. This will be effective 11/6. And approved to hire Dusty Wallace as a District 1 road supervisor effective 11/6 and pending a drug screening. All right, so y'all want to take the 2 transfers in one and take the hires in another? Y'all want to separate them out? How y'all want to do it?
That's fine. We got 3 transfers, right?
Well, the transfers one's actually higher because he's coming from part-time.
Part-time, I got you.
So everything from 3 down to 6 will be higher, and then the 2 will be transfers. So y'all just want to do it that way?
That's fine.
Okay, so we'll take 1 through 2 together, and then we'll take the other 6 together. Okay. Any discussion with any one of them, or any discussion with anybody going on there? All right, so we have several merit increases below. Anybody have any issue with any merit increase? At this time, I'll turn it over to Mark, Mr. Engineer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have several subdivisions for you guys' consideration. A couple of those were brought up in the public comment, but I'll go through the list that we have. Johnson Commercial Subdivision, this is a replat of Lot 7. This is a minor for preliminary and final, creating 2 lots in District 3. Highland Village Phase 3, this is a minor for preliminary and final, creating 7 lots in District 3. Dupree Worthy Subdivision, this is a minor for preliminary and final, creating 4 lots in District 2. Morris Williams Subdivision replat of Lot 18, this is a minor for preliminary and final, creating 2 new lots in District 4. I'll be happy to speak with those that were here today between the meetings and about this. The Joseph B. McConnell Subdivision, this is a minor for preliminary and final, creating 3 lots in District 4. And I'll speak about this as well with the lady that spoke. And then Cardinal Hill Subdivision, this is a minor for preliminary and final, creating 3 lots in District 2. Big Creek Farm Subdivision Northeast, this is Addition 1. This is a minor for preliminary and final, creating 4 lots in District 4. And Ridinger Estates Subdivision, this is a replat of lots 9, 10, 11, and Block 2. This is a minor for preliminary and final, consolidating those into 3 lots in District 4. As far as the subdivisions, especially the Morris Williams subdivision, we don't have any knowledge. We're not told what type structure is going to be built on anything. We evaluate the lots for conformance with the subdivision regulations. The water department evaluates their infrastructure. The health department evaluates the perk tests. We don't have any say in anything outside of the actual division of land and making sure that it meets our regulations. So I can't really speak to those matters. If I know that it was alluded to that there were restrictions on the lots or the existing lots. Those restrictions, they're civil restrictions, and they can be challenged in civil court. And I think that one of the gentlemen did speak to that. We did notify the surveyor that submitted this, and I don't know if it was whoever was representing the sale of the property. We did notify them that it was brought to our attention that there was potentially restrictions that if they're in violation of, which we're not judges on that matter, but that if they were in violation of them, that could be a civil suit that would have to be resolved. But like I said, we're not, the engineering department is not judges on that matter. I did advise them of that issue, that it could be there. And then I apologize to the lady that just received the notice. I mean, we have been getting a lot of complaints about the notice system and how it is done. I wish there was a better way to do it, but the state of Alabama dictates how we notify adjacent property owners. And we have asked and requested that be looked into so that we could get better notice out to adjoining property owners. What we were told was that method is the method that is approved by state law, and that's the method we have to follow, or will be in violation of the state law of how they're notified. So I do apologize that the mail didn't run in a timely manner. We have been receiving a lot of that lately, and I apologize to anybody who that's the case, but we are trying to follow, we're trying to follow the state regulation on how we notify adjoining property owners, like I said. So if we go outside of that, we're in violation of the state law on how we do that. So I like I said, I do apologize. There may be others that received late notice, and again, we have been hearing that more and more lately as the Postal Service has been having some issues, but we are trying to follow those guidelines and those requirements set out by state law. So, you guys have any questions for me or have anything?
Mark, on the Morris Williams, I mean, we can't, regulate any of that other stuff we was talking about there, but the water we can't. And I think one of them's concern was water.
The water is the water. There are drainage easements on the property, some added drainage easements. They would have to operate within their property and within those drainage easements. They're drainage easements just on this property, so I don't want to confuse anybody and think they're adding drainage easements to other properties. They're not. They're restricting this property further through easements for their drainage. Now, I can't say that that's a magic bullet that's gonna, but that there's not gonna be issues. But the surveyor did put the tools within the plat to give them the ability to mitigate those. Now, whether or not they use those tools, that's something that we'd have to be aware of and work with them as they go. But that's not. But like I said, they did put the tools there. But you don't know how good a neighbor anybody is until they start doing something.
Right. But if the water gets altered, for saying, I want them to understand it, but I want them to talk to you after the meeting too. Is if that water gets over on Mr. Blaze or whatever, I mean, we can go in and make them fix this problem.
They have the easements that they should be operating in.
I want to make sure they know that.
They have the easements that on the plat that they should be operating in. And again, like I said, those easements are there to mitigate that issue that was brought up. Now, again, they still have to use that tool that's in front of them, but they are there, and we will until they do wrong, we have no way of assuming that they're not going to do what they say they're going to do.
And also on the cul-de-sac in the back, me and you looked at that and we've talked about it. Now I don't know what they're doing with the land across the road yet. They don't have to go through that. They don't have to go through us if they do exactly what they're doing across the road. Am I correct on that?
I think that's right.
Okay.
I mean, as long as if they're not subdividing the property or anything like that, but we are aware of it. We have tried to deal with some issues that we know were created, but we are aware that if there is further development back there, that's going to compound the problem, and so we're trying to be very proactive in that situation.
Well, that's what I assured them the other day, that we're not going to squeeze us in, because right now it's tight back there for a school bus, and for any other vehicle that tries to turn around back there. So, but we do have a cul-de-sac in the design of that road.
Like I said, we will. We are aware of it now, and like I said, nobody has come to us and said they're going to build anything, so it's only hearsay at this point.
Right.
But we are aware of it, and we're gonna be proactive with trying to protect and make sure that that turnaround remains.
Okay. And you're going to talk to the lady after the meeting about the Joseph.
Yeah, and we'll see when she has a chance to look at it. I do apologize for the late notice, though. We did try.
Anybody got anything else? And I've got a comment on, this is on the subdivision, on this mailing thing, because Mark can bounce for me on this. Friday, my wife calls me, and she's this lady's mail carrier, and she's fussed about us sending all these certifieds out. So I live with a mail carrier that does that. But on another note of it is, I will say this, Miss Wilson down in the basement that sends out these notices, she is real prompt on doing her job and does an awesome job at getting those out. You know, give credit where credit's due, she does that, and I promise you, if it was to be sent out on the 27th, she sent it out. Now, we can't control how it gets from that point to that point, but I know for a fact that my wife called me Friday, and me and Mark was together, and I told her, I said, well, I'm just going to put you on speakerphone and let you talk to Mark because I complained on Mark on this. So she complained on Mark on it, but like I said, and then give credit where credit's due, Miss Wilson, that is one thing that she does do. She does that very well. She gets those out, and if it was to be sent out on the 27th,
Follows the letter of the law.
she follows the letter of the law to the T. So, and my wife being a rural mail carrier, you know, I do know that the way that mail transfers nowadays is totally different than it used to be. It's, you know, used to, if you bought anything in the world, it had to go through Atlanta before you could get it. It don't matter if it come from where, but now the mail has to go through Birmingham before anybody can get it. And but these processes go through. But I mean, like I said, I'm going to take the bat for those two ladies. I know those two ladies done their part, and but I don't know how it gets between the middle. And I wish there was a way that we could. I wished it was a way that it was sent. The law would say, hey, you had to give a 2 weeks notice versus a 10-day or whatever it is. You know, I mean, because in our defense, that's one of the things I wish that we had a longer time frame to require it to be out. You know, so but. I just wanted to put that plug in there for those two ladies, and I know for a fact it came Friday or something because she was fussing about it, but that's just the way the process works nowadays. So I just wanted to put a plug in for those two ladies. Anybody got anything else on that? All right, other business. As y'all know, we've been going through our inventory list and everything, and it's a few items here listed that we're to remove from inventory, and like I said. The first one on there, the Suburban, I dropped the ball on that because it was wrecked a few years ago, and I had never done away with it. I mean, it was actually up at the sheriff's office behind there, so we were actually going through, and some of these other things were just things that have gone away. So I'll take the blunt for the first one because the title was brought to me, and I signed off on it. I just never did get it removed from inventory. So, and some of these others on here, if anybody else has any discussion with them. And then there's two items to sell on Gov Deals, which would be a folding machine for mailing stuff and then a case loader from District 3. Has anybody got any discussion with either one of those items? In other business, anybody got any other business they want to bring up or talk about while we're in the public meeting here?
I do.
Go ahead.
Real quick, I know we got the recycling money, and I know we've been kicking this idea around about where to go with it. And I don't think we've nailed down nothing yet as far as where to put that building. And I just kind of wanted to get y'all's idea. I mean, we got a year. Is that correct, Drew? To spend that?
We're probably down to 10 months or 8.
Yeah, I was going to say we're probably.
We have less time than a year now, and
Right.
the money needs to be, the building needs to be complete or nearly by, I want to say it's next October. And there's a possibility that we could get a small extension, but only a possibility. It's not guaranteed.
So, kind of want to know y'all's ideas. If y'all had an idea, kind of where we want to, how do we want to move forward here?
I don't think you have any choice. Your time frame limits you to that option. Is that
You're talking about the LNS
LNS
property.
right?
I think that's kind of what everybody has resigned to, that is the one location. So, if that is the location that we want to move forward, if there's not any other ideas, because if somebody's got a Hail Mary that they pull out and say, oh, here's a spot, then,
Yeah,
hey, let me know. But yeah, if that's the location, if nobody else has any other ideas, then that's the direction we would proceed, is placing a metal building on that what we call the LNS property, the Jefferson Street property, to be the location for recycling. So,
In dealing with ADEM in the past, most of the time, if we're under construction, they'll probably extend ours. But if we're not under construction, they're probably
we need to
going.
make substantial.
Yeah, we need to make some kind of
progress.
substantial progress. I mean, if you don't,
We don't need to miss this window and not do something, have something.
I know they gave us $600,000 to do this with, so. Yeah, and I'm fine with, I think that we're all kind of in the agreement that that's probably the best option that we do have as far as looking into it. All righty. Any other discussion? And I know that, and there was some other discussion, I know that we've been looking around, it may be looking at doing some working concrete crews and this, that, and the other, and I know that everybody's kind of had I know the guys have been out looking at how much work we have and the financeability and the feasibility of it and all, so y'all just, if you have any discussion with that, bring it up with Mark. I know Mark's been working on getting some with the city and things like that, so I just wanted to bring that up. All right, we have no executive sessions. We'll go into recess for 15 minutes, and that'll put us right here at 10 o'clock. It's 9:45. That's normal time. So y'all meet with Mark here with the gentleman right quick and the lady, and